"It was rigged. They cheated. Frickin' referees." These are the phrases often heard from passionate NBA fans, like myself, whenever we see our team lose because of, things like significant free throw disparities. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love the NBA. I live and breathe basketball, and if I had millions of dollars and could afford it, I too would be what they call a super fan. But despite my unwavering loyalty, like millions of others who tune in on a daily basis, are moments that test my faith in the game's fairness. These incidents drive me beyond crazy. So, I did what any insane NBA fan would do. I dug through the darkest corners of the web. I watched the most controversial games. I listened to the man who was actually convicted. And through all this, I think I found an answer that might just shock you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why people think the NBA is rigged. The first incident that sparked major controversy over potential NBA manipulation dates back to 1985. At the time, needless to say, the NBA was nowhere near what it is today. Attendance rates were dwindling, franchises were bleeding money, and a story in the LA Times even claimed that 75% of NBA players were on drugs. The situation got so bad that the league contemplated dissolving over a quarter of its teams. Additionally, the NBA's television contract, valued at $91.9 million over 4 years, was set to expire after the '86 season, casting further uncertainty over the league's future. Amidst this crisis, however, the late great David Stern, the NBA's commissioner at the time, was determined to save the league. And fortunately for him, at this critical time, a towering 7-foot giant who had just won the NCAA championship was starting to emerge onto the scene. Patrick Ewing was hailed as the next big thing when it came to basketball, with Sports Illustrated even proclaiming him the most recognized athlete ever to enter a major professional league. Even today, many still regard him as the NBA's most anticipated prospect, surpassing even LeBron James and Victor Wembanyama in pre-draft hype. At this pivotal moment, NBA Commissioner David Stern had just implemented the new draft lottery system, and he had a critical decision to make. He could ensure fairness, potentially sending Ewing to a smaller market like Sacramento, and squander this opportunity of a lifetime. Or he could engineer a scenario to save the NBA. With Michael Jordan making waves in Chicago, Magic Johnson in Los Angeles, and Larry Bird in Boston, positioning Ewing in New York could create another major market which would significantly impact the league. Such a move could potentially secure another lucrative TV contract, boost attendance, and place the NBA on a path not just to financial recovery, but prosperity. This leads to the notorious episode known as the frozen envelope. The way the lottery worked at the time involved placing several envelopes in a sphere, which was then rotated to shuffle them. David Stern was then tasked with selecting one envelope at random, and this envelope would determine which team received the first pick in the 1985 draft. The controversy here stems from the allegation that the envelope for the New York Knicks was intentionally chilled and frozen, allowing Stern to identify it by touch. This action guaranteed the Knicks the top pick, effectively creating a new cornerstone market for the NBA. Stern vehemently denied these accusations, insisting that the lottery process was conducted fairly. However, Stan Kasten, who was the general manager of the Hawks at the time, relayed a tale in which a high-ranking executive confided in him before the draft, stating, "He's going to the Knicks. It's all arranged." Now, fast forward to the 2024 NBA draft. Victor Wembanyama was entering the league amid unprecedented excitement, paralleling the buzz around Ewing's debut. Forbes even called him the single greatest prospect in NBA history. I mean, standing at 7'4" with guard-like skills? Wembanyama was something the NBA had never seen before, and though the league is in a much better financial position than they were in '85, they sure weren't about to just hand over this generation talent to sorry franchises like Detroit or Washington. Now, the current lottery system is supposed to be foolproof. The machine itself is manufactured by the Smart Play Company, a leading manufacturer of lottery machines, and to closely observe the lottery so there's no foul play, select media, NBA officials, and even representatives of the accounting firm Ernst & Young are in attendance. Seems foolproof, right? Well, the caveat is, this all happens behind closed doors and isn't televised. Some may say the theory of this rigged draft is still just one big conspiracy, But former All-Star Gilbert Arenas doesn't think so one bit.
Right.
He is safe.
We agreed on that too.
He is safe in Spurs under Pop, and that's why he got the #1 pick.
So you saying it's all rigged? Is that what you're trying to say?
We get to see the ball. Oh, wait. That's right. We do not get to see the ping pong
We
ball.
don't.
We got to take y'all word for it.
They just...
NBA drafts. This is one highly controversial topic when it comes to the question of, is the NBA rigged? Game 6 of the 2002 Western Conference Finals between the Lakers and the Kings stands as the most controversial game in NBA history. The Kings led the series 3-2, and with just one more win, they'd eliminate not just the most formidable 1-2 punch the league had ever seen, but also its most marketable team. At that time, Shaquille O'Neal was the most dominant player, while Kobe Bryant, seen as the successor to Michael Jordan, was the league's most marketable figure, leading NBA jersey sales for several years. If the Lakers could secure a three-peat, it would significantly enhance the NBA's bottom line, similar to Jordan's impact in the 90s. And that's exactly what was seemingly orchestrated on May 31st of 2002, which prompted widespread speculation and controversy. Now, here's what happened. As the game entered the fourth quarter tied at 75 apiece, the whistle shifted dramatically against the Kings. It didn't matter what they did on either offense or defense, the Kings found themselves getting pummeled by the refs. In that decisive quarter, Sacramento was limited to just 9 free throw attempts compared to LA's staggering 27. This discrepancy was absolutely shocking because prior to the quarter, the free throw count was actually relatively balanced at 16 for the Kings and 13 for the Lakers. Are we to believe that a team of the Kings' championship caliber suddenly lost their defensive prowess, committing enough fouls to grant the Lakers 27 free throws in a single quarter? In my previous video, I've often highlighted how the Lakers seem to benefit from significant free throw advantages, notably over 20 free throws, especially when facing the Warriors. When I do so, comments usually flood in saying that it's because Golden State is a three-point shooting team, but in that notorious quarter against the Kings in 2002, Sacramento attempted merely 1 three-pointer, debunking the usual justification for such a disparity in free throws. The disgraced referee Tim Donaghy also chimed in, suggesting that the series was manipulated in favor of the Lakers. Interestingly, it often always appears that it's the Lakers who benefit from these questionable officiating situations. I mean, more recently, they had a 23-2 free throw advantage in the fourth quarter against the Raptors, which was absolutely outrageous. Again, people love to use the argument that it's because their opponent is a three-point shooting team, but in this particular matchup, the outside shooting was pretty evenly matched. Now, one might wonder why the NBA would allow such a thing. Well, for starters, it's the Lakers, one of the most popular sports organizations in the world, and second, it's LeBron James, who many peg as the second greatest player of all time right behind Jordan. I don't watch every NBA game because that's impossible, but as an avid fan and a YouTuber, I do make it a point to stay informed about the league's happenings by checking every box score on a daily basis. And let me tell you something. Never have I ever seen a team like the Lakers consistently shoot 20-ish more free throws than their opponent. To illustrate, just check out these examples from the 2024 season alone. On November 12th against Portland, the discrepancy in free throws was 37-9. Following that, on November 19th against Houston, the disparity was 29-10. By the end of the same month against the Pistons on the 29th, it widened to 38-13. Then on January 9th, facing the Raptors, it was 36-13. Against the Warriors on the 27th, the difference soared to 43-16. And most recently, on February 1st against the Celtics, it was 26-7. As of today, nearly 25% of the Lakers' victories this season have featured a free throw disparity of 20 or more. This doesn't even account for games where the disparity was around 10. This consistent pattern raises eyebrows and really gets people thinking, what the f*** is this bullshit? The final piece of the puzzle that raises suspicions of rigging in the NBA is tied to the disgraced referee I mentioned earlier, Tim Donaghy. This individual, who was convicted of felony charges, confessed to betting on NBA games he officiated between 2004 and 2007. His actions went unnoticed until the FBI busted him, but not before millions of dollars were won from betting. Since this scandal, no other referees have been publicly investigated. However, the current landscape of online sports betting through platforms such as DraftKings and FanDuel presents very strong incentives for referees to manipulate games. And on Gilbert Arenas' famous podcast, which consists of former NBA players, they actually talk about how this is still ongoing.
Do you think it's another ref that's in the NBA right now that's like him?
Club of them. I think it's a club of them. We clearly see the discrepancies in certain games where the swing for Vegas hits the numbers.
Yeah.
These are elements that bookies know about, gamblers know about. Hey man, this is a game we need Luka out. He gets 2 technicals before halftime.
The initial examples of controversy I mentioned were driven by the league's own actions, aimed at enhancing its financial situation and crafting more compelling storylines that it could exploit. Controversially, the last scenario was influenced by personal greed. You know, regardless of whether you believe that the league is rigged or not, the evidence and hints scattered throughout NBA history suggest that something is amiss. And ladies and gentlemen, it's this that fuels people's beliefs that the NBA is rigged.